Welcome to another deep dive. So today we're plunging into a topic that's, well, it's been on everyone's mind. Semaglutide. You know it maybe as Ozempic or Wegovy. Big discussion around weight loss, but, the world often thinks fat is just about food, right? Like calories, carbs, discipline. And yeah, that's part of the picture, sure. But what if that's just like scratching the surface? What if there's something else going on, something maybe we often overlook? So our mission today is to explore the frankly radical insights of a man named Dan Hollis. He offers a completely different way to look at all this. His headline, the one that really stopped us, was, "What if you weren't broken, just confused?"
What's really fascinating here is how Dan Hollis completely reframes the whole conversation. He's not pushing, traditional diet advice or some quick fix for weight loss. He's essentially decoding what he calls emotional amnesia, which is quite a concept.
It really is a fundamental shift. And when you hear Dan Hollis's his most profound statement about semaglutide, it really makes you stop and think. He said it gives you a moment where food stops talking. And for some people, that's the first honest moment they've had in 20 years.
That idea of silence, what does that truly open up from his perspective?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, right? This silence isn't just like the absence of physical cravings. It's described as a profound, almost sacred space where truth can finally emerge. It means you suddenly get the clarity to finish your own story, instead of being constantly distracted or too full from all the external noise.
Like mental bandwidth opens up.
Exactly. Mental and emotional bandwidth you might not have even known you were missing.
So Hollis isn't pitching control like we usually hear. He's offering something deeper. Surrender, but intentional surrender. He talks about that silence feeling like a scalpel. Not scary, but a precise tool for uncovering hidden truths. Yeah, and that's a really powerful idea, isn't it? Especially when everything tells us to constantly fight our impulses, control everything.
Okay, so let's shift a bit. We've always thought of hunger as, a physical thing, stomach grumbling, feeling hollow. But Dan Hollis challenges that pretty directly. He teaches there's another kind of hunger, one that doesn't live in your stomach. How does he help us tell the difference?
He defines it so clearly. He says emotional hunger sounds like a craving, but it's actually a question, a need asking to be seen.
A question.
Yeah, it's your internal landscape trying to tell you something important. We often mistake really deep needs like fatigue, loneliness, maybe even just being totally overstimulated. We mistake those for needing to eat.
Right. That makes sense.
Think about it. What we're actually reaching for in the pantry is often connection or comfort, maybe just clarity. The craving isn't the root issue. It's more like a signal pointing towards something else entirely.
And this is where semaglutide's role through his lens becomes so insightful. It doesn't just magically fix emotional hunger.
No, not at all.
Instead, it simply lowers the volume on the biological noise, makes it quiet enough so you can finally hear those deeper, quieter questions.
It's like turning off static on a radio.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this brings up a really important point, doesn't it? Semaglutide isn't the solution itself for emotional eating. It's the silence, the space that lets you find your own solution.
An opportunity.
A huge opportunity to rebuild identity, behaviors, emotional awareness, all while those constant confusing cravings kind of take a backseat for a bit. The real work, the important work, starts in that quiet space.
Okay, so when that profound silence actually sets in, what happens? Because the truth is, that much quiet can be, well, deeply unsettling for a lot of people.
They really can.
It feels like they've lost a familiar coping mechanism, maybe. Or, like Hollis puts it, their favorite lie. Without that constant noise, they often just instinctively reach for what they know, cheese puffs, cheat days, or maybe just general chaos.
Yeah, see, most people relapse not because they're suddenly starving physically.
Yeah.
It's often because they're confused by the quiet, overwhelmed by it.
Right.
They don't fail because the drug stops working. They often fail because nobody really taught them what to do with that silence. Those old habits are incredibly ingrained, right? And silence can feel like this big, empty void.
And this is exactly where Dan Hollis comes in with his unique approach.
Yeah.
He talks about building scaffolding in the space that semaglutide opens up.
Scaffolding, yeah.
Framework, identity, ritual, language. This is the part that, as he says, can't be packaged or monetized. It's too personal.
It is. It's the inner work.
So what does that scaffolding actually look like in practice?
Well, that's the really critical piece.
Yeah.
Food stops talking, right? A framework might be learning to actually identify the source of your hunger. Like, is this physical? Or is it an emotion I'm feeling?
Okay.
An identity shift?
Yeah.
That could mean seeing yourself differently, as someone who nourishes their whole self, body, and soul, not just someone who eats for comfort. A simple ritual could be, say, taking 5 mindful minutes before eating. Just checking in, asking, what am I truly hungry for right now? And language that involves finding new words. Words for emotions you might have just covered up with food before, so you can actually name them, address them directly.
Learning to speak emotion instead of craving.
Exactly. The real power of these GLP-1 meds, like Semaglutide, is precisely this chance to pause and rebuild. It's about untangling true physical hunger from all that signal confusion and learning to meet cravings with insight, not just impulse.
This leads us to another really profound shift in perspective Hollis offers: failure. We used to think, failure on a weight loss journey meant we were weak, undisciplined, fundamentally broken somehow.
Oh, absolutely. That narrative is so strong.
Every stumble felt like this deep personal failing, but Dan Hollis just completely rewrites that whole story.
He absolutely does. And the way he reframes failure, it really sticks with you. He says, failure isn't the end, it's a message.
A message.
A moment of feedback. And sometimes it's the most honest conversation you'll ever have with yourself.
It stops being a shame story and becomes just a data point.
Okay, explain that a bit more, a data point.
Like, if you find yourself reaching for a certain food, okay, that's not a failure, it's data. It's your brain signaling an unmet need, maybe,
Here.
or activating a familiar coping pattern. And that pattern is just asking to be looked at, reevaluated, not judged.
So a relapse, as people call it, isn't some betrayal of your progress.
Not at all.
It's maybe just your brain asking for that old familiar rhythm. It's not a judgment, just a signal for more curiosity.
Precisely. That's it exactly. Most people aren't failing semaglutide, the drug itself. They're often failing to prepare for what comes after the drug's main effect, or during the quiet moments it provides. Setbacks, Hollis argues, they can actually be sacred if you're willing to look at them with curiosity, not with judgment.
Sacred. That's powerful. Yeah. As he puts it so well, the shame isn't in failing. The shame isn't pretending you were supposed to be perfect. It's about accepting that imperfection is just part of learning, part of being human.
And that really is the core of failing forward, isn't it? Responding to a stumble not with self-blame, but by reaching for a better tool, maybe, or a new understanding.
Exactly.
It's such a profound shift in mindset.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes way beyond just weight management, obviously. Wow. Okay. So this deep dive, it's shown us that looking at semaglutide through Dan Hollis's lens, it isn't just about weight at all, really. It's about, like you said earlier, rewriting the story. People were perhaps too full to finish before. It brings us right back to that core, powerful insight. It was never about the food.
It really wasn't. And Dan Hollis genuinely teaches people to sit in that discomfort, even shame sometimes, long enough to actually learn something from it, not just run away. So maybe a final thought for you listening. Consider this. How might this really revolutionary approach to failure or stumbling apply in your own life? Maybe in any area where you felt confusion or shame. What deeper wisdom might be waiting for you right there in your moments of silence if you just, allow yourself to listen?